Hi, dear friends. This is Robert Hatton. This is the Encourager. In the week leading up to the crucifixion, Jesus and the disciples, they didn't sleep in Jerusalem. They got accommodation with their friends in Bethany, and they would travel in. They were commuters. They traveled in every day to Jerusalem. And on the morning when Jesus cleansed the temple, he was on his way to Jerusalem, and I wonder if he'd forgotten to eat breakfast. But anyway, he saw a fig tree not very far away, and he told his disciples, let's go to the fig tree and let's go and get something to eat. And when they got there were no figs on the fig tree, just leaves. Mark, he writes in his in this story, and he says it wasn't the time for the figs, and still Jesus was expecting to get something to eat. It wasn't. Figs were not in season at the time, but still he was expecting to find some fruit. And do you know what Jesus said in John chapter 15 and verse 16? He says, "You didn't choose me, but I chose you, and I sent you, I appointed you to go and bring fruit, and that your fruit remains." You know, Jesus is looking for fruit in our lives. And what does that fruit mean? Fruit means that I have a good development in my life, that things in my character are changing for the better, that I'm helping to see the kingdom of God extended a little bit. He's always expecting us to bring fruit. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon writes in chapter 3, there's a time for everything, and he gives us a list of all kinds of different kinds of times that there are where things can happen. Jesus has got something that's weighing on his heart. He's come to Jerusalem for something very special. He's going to die. He's going to give his life for the whole world, and he knows this. And this has been troubling, or not troubling him, but this has been a thing on his heart, for a while, ever since they started the journey to Jerusalem. And he keeps mentioning this, but his disciples don't understand him. They're listening, they're hearing him, but they don't get it. They're interested in other things. Now we live in a time which is different than any other time. We live in a time where a lot of restrictions going on. We're in a shutdown, or at least a lockdown, where we can't do many of the things we would like to do. We don't have the freedom. We can't meet with as many people as we would like to do. And for the kind of job, the kind of ministry that I do, I really need to be meeting people. I really need to be gathering together with people, to be traveling as well, and that's not possible at this time. So how can I bring fruit? How can I fulfill the ministry that God has given me? This is not the time for fruit, for my ministry. This is not the time for figs. I know when Jesus looks at my life, he still expects me to bring fruit, even at this time. Now, Jesus keeps speaking. I'm sure he's speaking to me, speaking about things that are very significant and that weighing down on his life. And maybe just like the disciples, we are not getting it. I've got to put myself in the front line. Maybe I'm not getting it. And as I look through social media, I find that Christians, some of whom I respect very much, what they're getting is, let's go and do demonstrations somewhere. Let's go and proclaim that there is no corona, and that's just everything's just a big fake. And others seems to be spending a lot of time searching the internet if they can't find a quotation from some doctor or some biologist who will contradict what the government is saying about this, about the pandemic, what's going on at the moment. And I've got the impression they're not getting it. But am I getting it? Am I listening to what God is saying? And he's always looking for fruit in our lives, even when it's not the time for figs. He still wants us to bring fruit, even if we think it's not the right season. Paul writes to Timothy, and he says, be instant, in season and out of season, all the time, be ready, all the time, be bringing in fruit. Even when your fruit is not really in season, you can still be doing it. In Ecclesiastes 3, this one I've just mentioned, it says there is a time and there is a season and there's a purpose for all things. God is thinking, God has got a plan with this corona shutdown at the moment, and we've got to find out what's on his heart so that we can fulfill what he wants us to do and be a blessing to the people around us. A Lutheran minister who we know, he has declared this time to be 28 days of hope. Maybe we can join him and make a difference in this world. God bless you. Have a good day. You're Robert Hatton.